Given y equals x over x minus 1 and x is greater than 1, which of the following is a possible value of y? So we're given that y equals x over x minus 1 and that x is strictly greater than 1. We need to see which one of these values is a possible value for y. So just by looking at this, we can rule out the negative answer choices and 0. The negative answer choices aren't possible because we're told that x is always greater than 1. So x has to be a positive number, and it has to be greater than 1. So even the smallest value we can have for x, something like 1.0001, when we subtract 1, this will still be a positive number. So it'll just be a positive number divided by a positive number, which will always give us a positive number. So y can never be negative, and it can't be 0, because the only way to get 0 is if the numerator is 0. And since the numerator has to be greater than 1, it can't be 0. So we can rule out A, B, and C. So now to rule out between the next two, we can recognize that since x is greater than 1, the result of this fraction has to be greater than 1. Because when we plug in even the smallest value we can into x, when we divide it by that value minus 1, we're dividing it by a smaller number. And when you divide by a smaller number, that increases the number in the numerator. So let's take an example. Let's assume x equals something small like 1.01. Since this is greater than 1, if we plug this in, we'll have 1.01 divided by 1.01 minus 1. And this is just 1.01 divided by 0.01. And we can simplify this by recognizing that 1.01 is just 1 over 100. And since we're dividing by a fraction, we're just going to multiply by the reciprocal. So this is just 1.01 times 100 over 1. So we can see that when we have x minus 1 in the denominator, no matter what value we put in, we'll be multiplying. It'll basically be dividing by a smaller number than the number in the numerator. So this number here will become larger. So the result is actually going to be 101. That means that no matter how small of a value we get, as long as it is greater than 1, so no matter how many zeros we add, we'll be dividing by a smaller number. So any number less than 1 is not possible for a value of y. And since 0.9 is less than 1, this cannot be a possible value for y, which leaves E as the correct answer.